Hello guys, let's continue our discussions on how to create HTML layouts. Okay, so in the previous video I showed you how to create an HTML layout using a table, even though it is not recommended to use table to create layouts, but I made a video on that. But in today's video, we are going to talk about how to use CSS to create your HTML layout. So especially the CSS float property if you want to create your layout. Okay, so you can create an entire web layout using CSS float property. The advantage of using the CSS float property is that it is very easy to learn and to use. So you just have to learn how the float and the clear properties work. But this method also has some disadvantage is that the floating elements are tied to the document flow, which may sometimes harm the flexibility of your layout. So without further ado, let us create our layout, our HTML layout using the float property. The first thing we're going to do is we will create a div here and we will give it a class of container. So we will close the div element. Inside the div, we will use some of the elements that we can use to actually create the parts of our web page. The first part will be the header. If you want to create a header, we will use the header element. Inside the header, we can say h1 here and welcome to HTML tutorial and close h1. So that is going to be for our header. The next thing we will have is going to be the navigation. So let me close the nav element. Inside the nav element, we're going to have some list items. So I'm going to use the unordered list. And here we say li. So for list item, inside I'm going to use the anchor tag. And in anchor tag, I'm going to say href. Sorry, let me come back here like this. And maybe say home like this. Here we'll say blog. About us. And then contact. Yes, so that is for the nav. What can be the next thing that we will add here? So this is a nav item, so we can say that we want to add the article item. So I made a video, a special video where I explained these various HTML elements because these are elements that you can use to define parts of your web pages. So nav here is going to define the navigation items or navigation bar. The header is going to define a header. Article here is going to define, maybe if you want to show an article on your page. Like here we'll say h1 introduction to HTML, close h1. Can have a paragraph tag like this one. Maybe copy some text, paste it here, copy the paragraph again, paste it that, add another text that you can replace like this here. We have two paragraphs, and then after the article, we can add the footer element. Footer element like this. In the footer, we can say copy right 2023, 2024. And that's it. Okay, so as I was saying, in this video, we are using the CSS float property to actually design the layout. So here we don't have a layout that is actually designed. So if we want to create a layout, what we are going to do is that we are going to use the style element here and write our CSS properties. So we're going to say that we want to use the class container of the div element. So that means we want to use div for this class container here. We want to say that its width must be 100%, semicolon, and the border to be 1 pixel solid gray. Gray must be here, semicolon. So that's it for the container. What else can we add? We can say header and footer. We want to use some padding. 1 EM, some color to be white, background color. We can use some hexadecimal here, and some text align. We say center, and then say clear left. Yes, so now this is how it's going to be. The next thing that we want to maybe style will be the nav element. So the nav element here, it's showing like this. So first of all, we can use the float property and say left. And set the padding to 1 EM. What else can we say? So we want to set the maximum width here to 160 pixels. Okay. And the margin to 0 pixels. 0 like this. Okay, so this is going to make sure that this particular navigation will show on the left side. So as you can see here, we have a navigation on the left side, and the other section will show on the right side. Yes, so once we've done that, now let's have some style for the list. So on ordered list of the navigation, maybe the list style type will be none. We don't want to show the bullet points here. And padding, say 0. Yeah, so now you see how it's showing. And then the next thing would be the anchor element that we will want to style. So navigation on ordered list, anchor element. We want, say, text decoration to be none. Yes, and then we can style the article. Margin left. You want to set the margin left to 100 pixels. Remove this here. 150, that will be that. So if you say 150, now you can see what will happen. The padding, we say 1 EM. Yes, it will show like this. And then border left, 1 pixel, solid gray. So it's going to show some border here. So now we have the border and overflow hidden like this. So now this is the layout of our web page. We have the header, we have the navigation item showing on the left because we've used the float property here. We have the article showing on the right, and then we have the footer. And one other thing that we can do, for example, if we want to increase maybe the height of the article section, you can say height. If you say 400 pixels. Yes, now you have 350, for example. This is how it's going to show. All right. So guys, that's what I wanted to show you, how to use this particular float property here, the CSS float property, to work on your HTML layout. So I hope the video was informative, and if you um, have questions, write them in the comment section so that we can continue the discussion. And feel free to like the video, to share, to comment, and to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And let's meet in the next video.